The President. Good morning. The Council now resumes. Let's proceed with the motion on taking forward red tourism and the panda economy in Hong Kong. Dr. Ng Yu, President, with the development of tourism over the world, different countries are trying to attract more tourists. With the support of the central authorities, we have achieved significant results in developing our panda economy. Now, in terms of red tourism, we have unleashed potential. These two have enriched our tourism industries and enhanced our people's understanding of the Chinese history. This year, the central government gifted 2 pandas to Hong Kong, which has sparked a stream of panda craze in Hong Kong. The Ocean Park have refurnished their halls in the Ocean Park, and on the 8th of December, pandas met with the public for the first time. In Japan, there was a scholar who estimated that Hon, that is a panda in Japan, brought about $60 billion of economic benefits to their country. This figure shows that panda is effective in promoting tourism. In order to welcome the pair of pandas, the Ocean Park and the government have prepared a series of activities, such as rolling out merchandises and so on. I'd like to thank the Chief Executive, the CSTV, and the relevant government officials for attending the event held in Tsim Sha Tsui, organized by DAB and the China Travel Agency. We must leverage on the market to promote the integration of culture and tourism. Contrast with panda economy, we have the red tourism. Different places in the mainland are trying hard to develop it. Hong Kong also has rich red tourism resources. For example, the cenotaph for mothers in Wu Kao Tan, Poon Oak in Yuen Long, Laws Oak in Sha Tau Kok. All these are relics of the war and great resources for patriotic education. Hong Kong plays a key role in the war of resistance against Japanese aggression. Since the 918 victory, we have a number of artifacts left behind. I think that by consolidating all of these red resources, we can allow our young people to better understand the history of our country and city. The government should put up, for example, information panels at various relics to tell the stories, and this is a great opportunity for us to educate. The core of red tourism is red education. The government should design more patriotic itineraries so that young people can enhance their sense of patriotism. The red tourism in the mainland is more unique. However, in Hong Kong, we rely on community organizations. I think that we should consolidate our resources and create exhibition halls. President, red tourism and panda economy represent opportunities. Panda, as an international symbol, can drive tourism and economy. Red tourism showcases our cultural confidence so that our young people can treasure the peace that we have today. I think that all sectors should work together so that red tourism and panda economy can become our new highlights and new driving force. Dr. Lau Chi-pan. Thank you, President. I speak in support of Chen Young's motion on taking forward red tourism and the panda economy in Hong Kong and the amendments proposed by the other 3 members. Hong Kong has been integrating into the development of our country. A lot of incidents that happened on the mainland are actually related to Hong Kong. Hong Kong played a key role at different junctures. For example, in the Second Opium War, we had launched anti-Japanese activities, 1899 strike, and so on. The big strike of Siemens. Hong Kong used to be the center of a war resistance. And the Hong Kong and Kowloon Independent Brigade of the East River Column fought against the Japanese during the World War II. A lot of movements happened in Hong Kong that contributed to the establishment of the new China. All these incidents left behind relics and artifacts that can become red tourism resources. President, I think that we should investigate, protect, and make use of the red resources that we have to promote patriotic education. Red tourism resources are scattered around this territory, and they can be categorized into different categories. First, the relics of Dr. Sun Yat-sen's revolution are very damaged. Second, the Kempton cenotaph for martyrs, Hongwa village, and the caverns are not treated with seriousness. Third, some of the relics are unknown in terms of their location. Fourth, there was a base of a independent brigade that are well protected but are facing demolition. Fifth, some of the relics are given status of statutory or declared monuments. Such as those in the new territories, the fort in Ha Bak Nai, and the Lim Ma Hang old house of the martyrs, because in front of the village there is a 500 meters of closed areas. It's difficult for the members of the public to visit. Given the current conditions of the relics, I think that the government should roll out 4 different measures. First, government can work with academic institutions to take stock of the red relics and artifacts that we have across the territory. Second, the SAR government should establish an advisory committee on the conservation of red resources so that they can give government advice on the conservation of these resources. Third, we should create cenotaph information panels. Fourth, we should write books on red resources in Hong Kong. Lastly, I'd like to talk about panda economy. I very much support it. Hong Kong is a city outside the mainland with the most number of pandas. I think that we should take this opportunity to create panda dance performance during festive events. We should have people portray as pandas to perform. We don't have such events in Chengdu even. President, I also speak in support of the motions and of the amendments.
Mr. Kwok Wai Kang. Thank you, President. I thank Mr. Brave Chan for giving us this opportunity to discuss taking forward red tourism and the panda economy in Hong Kong. I speak in support of taking forward red tourism and the panda economy. I also support other amendments. Pandas are treasures of our country. We set great store by pandas. Apart from treasuring national treasure, if we can drive the economy, then it shows that we have the love for pandas. With panda, it is not necessary that we have panda economy. In Korea, Sichuan, Beijing, many tourists are attracted to these places and a lot of revenue are generated. But how can pandas act as catalysts for panda economy? We need to build a brand for pandas. We need to highlight their characters and create panda stories. In Chengdu research base of giant pandas breeding, there are over 200 pandas. But visitors don't visit all pandas over there. In Korea, the situation is similar. They don't have as many pandas, but their national treasures are also very popular. The story of football and the bonding between the breeders and the pandas are even recorded in a film. Pandas are described as a princess. That highlights the emotional bonding between pandas and the breeders. For the other giant panda, Fafa, as colleague has mentioned, you need to be able to tell the difference between these pandas in order to do the panda economy well. The head is small, it's like a rice ball, and many people find Fafa adorable. So in Chengdu, it's a panda celebrity, so to speak. Apart from its appearance, it has a very adorable character as well. Its bamboo shoots were taken away by other pandas, but then Fafa did not get angry. When Fafa's little brother wanted to take away the bamboo shoot from Fafa, Fafa warded off the hand of her brother. These are exactly the adorable memories or moments that the public want to see. We don't need live broadcasting round the clock. Fafa is also a sports ambassador, and it is an honorary secretary for the Culture and Sports Bureau of the territory. In Beijing, there are many memories that strike a chord with the public. We need to look into optimizing the facilities in the area where pandas live. Say we're going to add more racks, toys, and so on. I hope the department will redouble their efforts in order to showcase the life of pandas. The key is to keep these 6 pandas well and groom them into panda celebrities. We need to enhance the emotional bonding and interactions among these pandas. I hope we can draw on the experience of Chengdu. We also need to seize upon this opportunity to drive the local economic and tourism development. Thank you, President. I so submit Dr. Stanley Lee. Thank you, President. I thank Mr. Brave Chan for moving this motion so that we have an opportunity to discuss taking forward red tourism and the panda economy in Hong Kong. From the perspective of promoting patriotic education, taking forward red tourism and the panda economy are 2 very important vehicles to take forward patriotic education. We need to further enhance patriotic education. As the leader of the task force on taking forward patriotic education. We recognize the efforts of the government's efforts in this regard. In the previous policy address, we aligned with the patriotic education law and need to build the relevant values in Hong Kong. Say we need to have the Chinese Promotion Office and the relevant task force, as I mentioned. On the 3rd of September, the Hong Kong Museum of Coastal Defense was renamed the Hong Kong Museum of the War of Resistance and Coastal Defense. For the first time, we worked with the Shenzhen Cultural Relics Bureau to showcase the history of the Dongjiang Column, so the public have a better understanding of this column. President Xi Jinping mentioned in a seminar our history of the war of resistance is very precious. It helps us to continue with the indomitable spirit on our road to Chinese nation's rejuvenation. Next year, we're going to have the 80th Victory Day of Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression. We need to make good use of resources in order to take forward patriotic education. I thank Professor Lau Chi-pang and his team. Earlier on, I asked Professor Lau and his team to conduct studies in Heritage Trail. We know Professor Lau is a very popular and famous history expert. He gave us opinions on the Heritage Trail in Sha Tao Kok. It is a pilot scheme. I hope the Secretary will consider Professor Lau's views. If we can make good use of the opportunity of the 80th anniversary of the Victory Day of Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression, if we can at the same time develop a heritage trail, then we can achieve complementarity. And if we can incorporate the heritage trail in Sha Tao Kok as well, then it will be of great meaning. We need to commemorate the contributions of the Hong Kong Independent Battalion of the Dongjiang Column. We can enhance the patriotic spirit and enhance the sense of recognition to the country. The Heritage Trail will help the public to have a better understanding of the history of the country towards the Chinese nation's road to rejuvenation. We can enrich the historical contents in the northern metropolis and develop the Sha Tao Kok area. If we can complete it in a short period of time, we can also develop Sai Kung, Lantau Island, and so on, in order to set the stage for more heritage trails all across Hong Kong. The Lost House is a relic of the War of Resistance. It is a starting point of our war. There are two routes, and I'm not going to go into detail. Apart from Professor Lau and his team, there are many community groups in Hong Kong which have written books on the history of the War of Resistance. I will pass them on to the Secretary, and I hope that you will factor in these books to commemorate the Victory Day of Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression, to give visitors and the public an immersive experience. I'm all for a panda economy. It can take forward economic development, and pandas are also great cultural ambassadors in order to tell the good stories of China. We can make good use of An Ke as well as red pandas to tell the good stories of panda. We can help them go global. We created Kung Fu pandas. Now we have two small pandas as well. Professor William Wong. Thank you, President. I thank Mr. Brave Chan for moving the motion on taking forward red tourism and the panda economy in Hong Kong. The Central People's Government gifted Hong Kong An and Ke. We have Lele and Ying Ying, as well as the twin panda cubs. We have a total of 6 pandas in Hong Kong. Panda fans are fascinated. Many people think that we should take forward the panda economy. Indeed, there is vast market potential for these 6 pandas. From tourism to cultural creation, pandas can play a key role. There are many successful examples from which we can learn. In order for panda economy to succeed, we need to do well in packaging. Pandas are adorable. Why are visitors willing to go all the way to Hong Kong to see the pandas? We need to package pandas into panda celebrities. We need to build a fan base for these 6 giant pandas, so panda fans will be willing to spend money and come to Hong Kong to view pandas. There are other panda celebrities like Fafa Football. They have their distinctive characters. Many visitors travel all the way to panda bases to view these pandas. They do so with their family members, and they can drive local tourism development. Pandas are adorable. Fafa has become one of the top panda celebrities. Fafa was appointed as the honorary secretary of the Culture and Sports Tourism in Chengdu. Fafa generated a lot of economic benefits. Apart from image project, which is the forte of Hong Kong, Ocean Park should do its very best to create images for these 6 pandas. We have all along been strong at cultural creation and so on. We can work with Ocean Park and the relevant departments to prepare films, anime products for the 6 pandas we have. The purpose is to show the charm of these 6 pandas to the world. As long as we market these 6 pandas well, they will bring new charm to tourism. Pandas are mascots, and they have taken root in our hearts. In 2008, in Beijing Olympics, we had mascots. In 2022, Winter Olympics, we also had mascots. All these mascots took pandas as the concept. So we should focus on building panda products with our own local characteristics, say egg waffle pandas, Bruce Lee pandas, and so on. This way we can promote our local culture. We can have large-scale LED to live broadcast the daily life of the 6 pandas. We can also build check-in spots and give the public NFT panda products. These will be precious souvenirs. The political and the commercial sector need to do their level best to enhance the panda craze in Hong Kong. So tourists will be drawn closer to pandas, and pandas will enjoy a more popular image. I speak in support of the motion and the amendments. Thank you, President.
Mr. Michael Tian. Now, in August, historical events happened in Hong Kong. Ying Ying and Lok Lok, gifted by our country, with much effort, gave birth to a pair of panda cub with 18 years of endeavor. Now, this is very exciting news, but I'm also worried. I'm worried about their physical conditions. Now, the twin cubs were born in August, and they received careful care from the nation's experts. So from what I hear, the panda cubs are of strong characteristics like me. Now we are blessed with one country, two systems, and the panda cubs can stay in Hong Kong and receive care. Together with the two new pandas gifted by the country in September, Anan and Keke, the family has grown to a 6-panda strong family. Now with the support of the national experts, there's great future for the pandas. Now I hope the pandas will continue to grow heavily. And we can use the frozen sperms and eggs of pandas from the country to infertilize our pandas and make the family grow bigger. Giant pandas are very popular in the world. Many zoos in other countries spend tens of millions of dollars to rent pandas. It brings about a lot of economic benefits to the relevant zoos and countries. They even turn a profit for them. Now, in April this year, I and my family went to the Chengdu research base of giant panda breeding. My grandchildren were thrilled. They got to feed pandas and touch the pandas. Now, the droppings of panda smell like bamboo, and they could be upcycled to become fertilizers. Now, some tea grown in Sichuan is fertilized by panda poops. They cost 210,000 RMB per catty, and also the poop can be made into paper pulp. Now, there are so many visitors flocking to Sichuan, so Hong Kong can be an alternative destination for them to see pandas. Now, Ocean Park earned $1.2 billion in 2024, some $800 billion more than 2023. Now, this may be because of the resumption of cross-boundary travel. Still, with so many visitors, the Ocean Park still needs some $280 million from the government to break even, and the subsidy will end in 2026, and then the Ocean Park will suffer a loss of $200 to $300 million per year. So I think the future for Ocean Park is not bright. Now, the previous secretary for Culture, Sports and Tourism didn't give me a good answer. It seems that he was eager to answer the question on behalf of the director of the Ocean Park. Now, the Ocean Park's loss will continue. This is a burden. Now, panda economy is the only way out for the Ocean Park. It is supported by the country as well. With a bigger panda family, the Ocean Park can create a family lineage history for the panda family. They can create a background story for each panda. Now, I've talked to the Ocean Park's management. This is the direction they are pursuing. They are even considering finding a much larger site to move the panda base there. So I think this is how we can save Ocean Park and promote its continuous development. Mr. Tang Fei, President, I speak in support of the motion moved by Mr. Bray Chan and the other amendments. First, on panda economy. Now, this is not panda. This is a red panda. There's no relationship. There's no relations between giant panda and red panda. Red panda will not grow into giant panda. But why am I holding this red panda? 3 reasons. They are both close to extinction. Second, both their major habitats are in the country. For giant panda is Sichuan. For red panda is in the Himalayas region. That's why they are also called Himalayan pandas. Most crucially, we have red pandas in Ocean Park as well. 3, both pandas are accepted as cultural symbols of the country. For example, a Kung Fu panda. And we also have a movie called Turning Red. I think the children would be very familiar with this movie. Now, with this kind of cultural resources, we should have a much greater say in driving development in culture. Now, we should embody education in environmental and animal conservation in tourism. This is how we can align with the mainstream value in the international community. And this is how we can attract young people, because they are naturally attracted to the environment and animals. So let's not forget red pandas as well. Red pandas can be a valuable tourism resources. Now, on red tourism, I support it. The major obstacle is that we have stories but not the monuments and relics. Now, Professor Pang mentioned about how scattered our monuments and relics are. This is because of the change in our cityscapes. It is also due to the secrecy of the anti-Japanese aggression efforts. That's why no trace was left behind. A single signage or post does not equal red tourism facilities. So we have to create heritage trail or even a musical theme upon our anti-aggression war history. Now, red tourism in a macro sense can cover the entire anti-colonial movement in the East Asian region. We can go beyond our country. For example, the Philippines. There are 2 revolutionaries in the Philippines who have left their footprints in Hong Kong, including the founding father of the Philippines. Now, in 1890s, he opened an eye clinic in Hong Kong as a cover. He drafted the Revolutionary Organization's charter in Hong Kong for the Philippines. Now, afterwards, he became a martyr. Now, 1 year after his death, another revolutionary, Emilio from the Philippines, fled to Hong Kong because he was hunted after by the Spanish colonists. Now, he established a military commission in Hong Kong. It has nothing to do with Hong Kong. It is a militant organization for the Philippines. So these are not necessarily red or communist tourism resources, but we can attract more visitors with these resources. Now, Mr. Ho Chi, the founding father of Vietnam, is also very famous. Now, he participated in the Canton Hong Kong strike in Hong Kong. Now, he got a Chinese name, and he established the Vietnam Communist Party in Mongkok. Now, that's Ho Chi Minh. Now, in 1931, the colonial government arrested Mr. Ho Chi Minh and imprisoned him in the Victoria prison near the present Tai Kwun. Afterwards, he, with the help of the Communist Party, he fled to other places. So, on a macro sense, the Philippines and Vietnam also have a rich history in Hong Kong. We can forge Hong Kong into a tourism city, showcasing the revolutionary history in the region, whether it is against the Japanese aggression or against colonialists. Thank you. Mr. Bill Tang. Thank you, President. I thank Mr. Brave Chan for moving this motion. I will speak on one point about red tourism, that is the uprising of the 2 airlines. Now, this is the second time we mentioned this incident in the Council. Now, it happens on the 9th of November, 1949. Now, at 0 hours, 2 flights took off from the airfield. Now, at Kai Tak, when the air control tower without the knowing of the air control tower with no lights on, and also hunted by the British naval, the British Air Force. The two airplanes flew to Tianjin. Now this is the photo. Now that's when the new China was established. It is a legend. This group of pilots was famous for combating the Japanese Air Force. For example, Mr. Lin Yuxi, he was featured in many movies. Now this is one of the planes. Now another legend is related to the FTU. Now one of our member union and also the Maritime Practitioners Union under the FTU has a group of fighters who previously fought for the Dongjiang column. Now they took apart some planes and brought the parts back to China. Now, subsequent to the uprising of the two airlines, more businesses defected and returned to our country. Now, on the 14th of March 1950, at 3 p.m., there was a port in Hong Kong for storing contrabands. I don't know where that is. Maybe Mr. Tang Fei can answer me. Now, there is a British naval vessel called the Imperial. Now, some aircraft parts required by the country were shipped to the mainland via this port. At the time, our country was still very poor and backward in the aviation industry, but this gave our country a better footing. Now, these are glorious history of Hong Kong. Some of the famous pilots are still living. They are 90 years old now. Now, we should turn these into tourism resources. Not only that, we have to tell good stories of these history. These are fascinating stories and these are legends. It makes people wonder how these extraordinary people were able to achieve what they did. So we have contacted the China Airline. The airline company is willing to build monuments in the mainland and gives them to the Hong Kong SAR government. We have a nice park in Kai Tak, and we can erect these monuments in the park. Now the revolutionaries in the 90s would be pleased to see the importance attached by the government to red tourism. Now the aircraft I mentioned is still here. Of course, I don't think the country will gift us this airplane, but can we scan the airplane and rebuild a replica and showcase it in Kai Tak? We can establish a monument hall and allow visitors to enjoy an immersive experience in the 3D printed airplane. The story is simply exceptional. 5 minutes is too short to tell the story. Please stop, Mr. Gary Chan.
主席，我首先要感謝陳勇。
Thank you, President. I thank Mr. Chan Yong for moving the motion so that we can talk about the two hot topics that are the red tourism and the panda economy. A lot of members talked about many suggestions that deserve consideration. Here are my views. Now, in terms of development of red tourism, I think that apart from tourism, we can introduce elements of films and videography to enhance our competitiveness and attractiveness. Let me give you an example. If you remember, a few years ago, there was a revolutionary film on the mainland. I'm sure that a lot of members here have watched it. This movie, The Awakening Age, made a lot of young people rewatch a lot of the old war movies and films. And the Red House at the Peking University became a check-in spot for a lot of young people who watched the movie. So I think that we can replicate it. We have Hong Kong and Kowloon Independent Brigade of the East River Column. We have the Hong Kong Independent Battalion of the Dongjiang Column. And we have a lot of martyrs and heroes. We can film TV programs and movies. Say, for example, the uprising of the two airlines. That is a great material for us to make such movies and TV programs. This is a better and more proactive way for us to allow our young people to better understand our history and promote our red tourism resources as well as scenic spots. When we talk about red tourism, we often think about the war resistance. Through opening and reform, our country has been developing in leaps and bounds. I think that this is a part of our red tourism as well. When we develop culture and tourism, we can think about what roles we played during the reforming, opening up of our country. We are a contributor and we are a beneficiary. A lot of Hong Kong people who did business on the mainland in the 80s, and I think that we can film the stories so that we can encourage our people to continue to work hard with our Lion Rock spirit. So there are different elements that we can include in red tourism and patriotic education. Now turning to panda economy. We must put thoughts to its development because each panda on the mainland, for example, is given some characteristics. For example, Hua Hua, that's a star on the mainland. Let me also talk about another panda that is called Meng Ya. She likes to climb trees, but she's clumsy, and she often rolled off the trees on her way up. All these cute acts can turn people into their fans. So I think that we can perhaps highlight the the characteristics of the pandas that we have in the ocean park so that they can become a contributor to the development of the panda economy. President, red tourism and panda economy are about telling good stories. With our achievements in pop culture, I think that we have what it takes to develop red tourism and panda economy. Thank you, President. Ms. Chen Hua-yan. Thank you, President. Let me talk about panda economy. Pandas are round and calm. They are very cute. And they are one of the most popular animals on the mainland. And they are a national treasure. Our country has leased a lot of pandas out to different countries. According to the statistics of the mainland in 1918, there are 20 zoos that have leased pandas over the world. This shows that pandas are very popular all around the world. And we have 2 additional new panda cubs this year, and now we have 6 altogether. And panda has become a hot topic. The Ocean Park has created a lot of new merchandises and created a panda-themed catering. We have also a lot of photo-taking spots across the territory. I think that this will vitalize the consumer market and drive the economy. But how do we maintain such a craze of panda? I thank Mr. Chan Leung for the motion so that we can talk about this. We have, well, say for example, Korea, who is very successful in pop culture development. We can learn from them. Fu Bao was born in July 2020, and that was during the COVID. Members of the public and tourists were not able to enter the zoo. And because people could not see the pandas in person, the zoo actually uploaded a lot of the videos and photos of the pandas onto the internet. They shared how the caretakers interacted with the pandas, and they explained to the members of the public the habits of the pandas. In April, Fu Bao returned to our country. A lot of people queued outside the Everland Zoo, and they bid the pandas farewell. On the Everland Zoo live streaming platform, there's 1.5 million passenger flow, and the videos were watched 600 million times. The economic benefits generated from pandas rose from 7.7 billion won to 126 billion won. That is equivalent to 680 million Hong Kong dollars. Korea does not only rely on merchandises or events, but they use social media platforms, short video platforms, and movies so that people can know more about Fu Bao, so that pandas can become like a friend of ours on the social media or a celebrity on TV. Instead of treating them like a mascot that we see once every year in the zoos. These days, we see pandas in different restaurants. Does that mean that the panda economy is very effective? Can it be maintained? Can we learn from the example of Fu Bao in Korea? Even if we're not able to film movies for pandas, we can record short movies or videos of pandas. I know that the Ocean Park is working on it. I think that we can create videos for all of the 6 pandas to foster a relationship between the pandas and the members of the public. When I was a journalist, I reported that the feces of pandas have different uses. They can be turned into tissue paper or paper. There is an association of West Kowloon that placed 12 glass pandas across the promenade in Kowloon. This can enhance people's knowledge of the intangible cultural heritage. I so submit. Ms. Yung Ha-Yan. I speak in support of Mr. Chan Leung's motion on taking forward red tourism and the panda economy in Hong Kong. Hong Kong, as an international metropolis, we should not only develop economy but cultivate people's sense of belonging and patriotism. There is great potential in red tourism and panda economy. We have rich resources of a war of resistance, such as the Dongjiang Column incident. This shows how the Hong Kong people fought against the Japanese aggression. We should make a better use of such historic resources and red resources so that a younger generation can cultivate a spirit of patriotism and a sense of belonging. We should expand the Hong Kong Museum of the War Resistance and Coastal Defense. We should also create a museum on the development and achievements of our country and build a heritage trail. Also, allowing young people to feel how strong our country is essential in building a sense of love for our country. The Chinese Navy visited Hong Kong a few days ago. A lot of people went to see the warships. I think that this shows that people want to actually know more about our Liberation Army. I think that we should allow people to board the warship so that they can feel how strong our country is, and this will cultivate a sense of patriotism in them. And we must keep up with the times. I think that we can incorporate VR and AR in our tourism spots to create an immersive experience for our tourists. We can also create short video channels so that young people can share these videos of red resources or war resistance relics. Lastly, Hong Kong is gifted our national treasure, panda. This shows our country's love for Hong Kong, and this bring about business opportunities. People feel very passionate about panda, so I think that we should develop local tourism. We can create interactive activities so that members of the public can interact with pandas. They can perhaps feed the pandas. This is like Tamagotchi. And this will drive more people to come to Hong Kong to appreciate the pandas and interact with them. The Chengdu research base of giant panda breeding actually built a panda robot. Xiaochuan is programmed with AI. Xiaochuan is able to talk to tourists. They show expressions. And I think that this is what we should learn from. We can build AI panda robots to enhance the interactiveness and attractiveness of our tourism spots so that more people can come and interact with the panda robots. I think that we can place these robots across the territory so that we can implement this approach of tourism is everywhere in Hong Kong, or a panda is everywhere in Hong Kong. This can enhance people's understanding of the pandas. Lastly, I think that we should make use of panda IP, create IP panda-themed activities and events. Red tourism and panda economy can complement each other. This is important in cultivating a new generation of patriots. At the same time, we can leverage on the pandas to drive the economy.
Mr. Tongite, thank you, President. 145,000 mainland visitors came to Hong Kong over the first weekend of December, which was a 30% increase. This was due to the multiple visit scheme of Shenzhen. An and Ke met with the Hong Kong public for the first time in December. Some visitors waited for a few hours just to meet with the pandas for a few minutes. All these show the care and concern as well as support for Hong Kong from the Central People's Government. We need to make good use of these measures to provide better travel experience for visitors coming to Hong Kong. On red tourism, young people are as important as visitors to Hong Kong. We need to enhance their knowledge about our country as well as their national identity. I organized a group to have a study tour to one of the cities in China. We went to the mall of great historical significance in mainland China. When I revisited this place, I had a deeper feeling. It made good use of technologies to significantly enhance the interests of visitors as well as help with their understanding of the history. Cultural and creative products were also produced. This drove consumption as well as tourism. Many young people and students were attracted to go to these places. The Hong Kong SAR government should take a page out of the book of the mainland China. Say developing a heritage trail for the war of resistance involving the Dongjiang Column, Museum for the History of the Communist Party of China. If they are not done well, we cannot make full use of resources. Pandas are adorable. Baby pandas are even more adorable. A few months ago, when the twin panda cubs were just born, members and I made a lot of suggestions on taking forward panda economy. I'm glad to see that many measures have been taken on board by the government or Ocean Park. Due to a change in the travel pattern among mainland visitors, Ocean Park is in the red. They need to change their operational philosophy. The trade and I set up a task force. We want to write on the transformation of Ocean Park and Water World, which was just commissioned to work together with the hotels nearby to revitalize the development of Island South. However, thanks to the pandemic, there was a further change in the consumption pattern. The property market is not doing well. So many plans had to be put on the back burner. Nowadays, our focus is on the 6 giant pandas. Many visitors are expected to go to Ocean Park to visit these pandas. But Ocean Park is still in the red. The Water World made it difficult for Ocean Park to stay afloat. I hope the government will continue to drive the development of Island South, not just taking forward the development of the Northern Metropolis as well as panda economy. We need to help Ocean Park to stay self-financing. I speak in support of the motion. Thank you, President. Ms. Elizabeth Quat. I speak in support of the motion moved by Mr. Brave Chan to take forward red tourism and the panda economy. Red tourism is an important means to promote patriotic education. It can also diversify the tourism development in Hong Kong. During our war of the resistance against Japanese aggression, we had a lot of history of the war of resistance as well as wartime relics. Say the Dongjiang Column, as well as other armies, are important chapters of our history in our war of resistance against Japanese aggression. But these periods of history have not been given due regard. Through developing red tourism, we can let more members of the public and visitors understand more about our role in our war of resistance. That can enhance our sense of national identity. We can also inject impetus to the tourism industry in Hong Kong. I suggest that the government develop 4 heritage trails. We need to consolidate the wartime relics as well as the history of the war of resistance to build a red tourism network. First of all, the first one is Heritage Trail in Sha Tao Kok. It is the base of the Dongjiang column back in the days. We need to show the history in relation to Law's House, Sha Tao Kok Heritage Museum to let members of the public feel the history back then. The next one is the Sai Kung Heritage Trail. It is an important base of the battalion back then. It provided protection for battalion. I suggest building a boardwalk and build cenotaphs in this important area. The third place is Lantau. Lantau is also one of the important places for the battalion. We can drive red tourism and showcase wartime relics, combining them with nature and attract families to come to these relics. The next one is the Heritage Trail in Yunlong and Termun. These were also one of the important battlefields. They supported the war of resistance. Kowloon and Hong Kong Island also boast a lot of wartime relics, say Waterloo Road. It was a wartime relics against Japanese aggression. It shows the strategic significance of Hong Kong. I suggest in these heritage trails, we need to build cenotaphs and add QR codes for the public and visitors to access information through media, say historical pictures, oral history, videos, and so on. These will give them a better understanding of history. We can also leverage on virtual reality, augmented reality to build a better experience for visitors. This can give them an immersive experience so that they can feel the atmosphere back then in the war as if they were in the battlefield. We also need to take forward patriotic education and organize red tourism themed activities. Patriotic education can be taken forward alongside red tourism. Developing red tourism is not just an innovative initiative of the tourism industry. It is also an important vehicle of patriotic education. As long as we have a holistic plan, red tourism will definitely become one of the important highlights of Hong Kong tourism industry. This can also enhance our national identity in Hong Kong. I also support developing the panda economy. I made a lot of suggestions on this front. Apart from the government's initiatives, I hope all quarters of society will also take part in taking forward the panda economy. I speak in support of the motion and all amendments. Thank you, President. Mr. Stanley Lee. Thank you, President. I thank Mr. Brave Chan for moving this motion. Since the resumption of multiple visit scheme for Shenzhen residents and the concept of tourism is everywhere in Hong Kong, we would definitely have more visitor arrivals. We need to rigorously develop red tourism and panda economy. This is very meaningful. I will speak on developing red tourism. Red tourism enables visitors to know more about our history and the history of our country. This can enhance our understanding of history, and that will also enrich the contents of tourism in Hong Kong. Whenever we talk about red tourism, we always need to mention the Hong Kong Independent Battalion of the Dongjiang Column in the same breath. I have a book in my hand right now. It depicts the history of the Hong Kong Independent Battalion of the Dongjiang Column's history in Sai Kung. These are vivid witnesses to our history. Our next generations should learn more about the history in this period. The Hong Kong Independent Battalion of the Dongjiang Column was a battalion comprising seamen, peasants, and so on. Sai Kung, which is my constituent, was one of the important areas for the Hong Kong Independent Battalion. This area is rich in red tourism resources, and I'm not going to repeat these resources. Members have already mentioned them. Some of the attractions are lesser known. There's a lack of holistic promotional strategy. Many visitors do not know the history behind it. With the resumption of multiple visit scheme for Shenzhen residents, we can consider setting up counters with the units in mainland China. We need to step up publicity in these counters. Visitors do not visit Hong Kong for the first time. They may be partial to in-depth tourism. Some red tourism attractions are off the beaten track. They are in the suburban areas, but then visitors like visiting these areas for in-depth tourism experiences. So we can set up counters in mainland China to step up publicity, and we can also work with travel agencies in mainland China. In relation to school promotion, there is still room for improvement in this regard. We can discuss with the Education Bureau to enable students to visit red tourism attractions. So we need to enhance the red tourism resources in Sai Kung. As I mentioned, we need to step up publicity. We also need to make better use of Weibo, Xiaohongshu, Douyin, short videos, and so on. We need to promote the red tourism attractions in Sai Kung in a holistic manner. The Hong Kong Police Force has a Douyin account in mainland China. It has a large fan base. The contents are popular among the Hong Kong public as well as the mainland China public. There are tourism packages, public toilets, car parks, and so on. As I mentioned, we need to work on the education front. We need to prepare the relevant teaching materials so that students will receive patriotic education. Regarding follow-up services of red tourism, we need to develop souvenirs with the characteristics of red tourism attractions in Sai Kung. Do we have the conditions to develop adorable souvenirs? I believe the administration has already heard a lot of views from legislators. I hope the administration will factor them in. Thank you.
Ms. Judy Chan. Thank you, President. First of all, I thank Mr. Brave Chan for moving this motion as the last council meeting of the legislative session. This gives us a platform to discuss how to take forward red tourism and the panda economy. This year, we received the third pair of giant pandas gifted by the central government. So we should think hard on how we can develop a panda economy in Hong Kong. It is definitely feasible. Now with Ms. Law coming into office, I think under her leadership, we will develop culture, sports, and tourism rapidly. Many members mentioned the panda gifted by the country to the Korean government. The panda cup is called a Fubao. I watched a movie about Fubao. I truly think that Fubao brought a lot of economic benefits to Korea. It also brought the people of the two countries closer. The zoo, before the coming of Fubao, had been suffering a loss. With the arrival of Fubao, it turned a profit. Similarly, after An and Ke and also with the birth of the new twin panda cub, the ocean park has been selling more tickets recently. So panda economy is definitely a thing. But I heard doubters saying that there are so many pandas in the country and we only have 6 in Hong Kong. What are our advantages? So I conduct a bit of study on the panda craze in the country. Every panda has its own character. For example, Hua Hua in Chengdu, she is a bit chubby and short and she loves food a lot. Her feeder always complain about the amount of food she consumed. She's so cute. And also Wenlan in Beijing. Wenlan is very athletic. She loves climbing. Also, we have the brother and sister in Chongqing. They have opposite characters. One is very sedantic, and one is very quiet, and one is very athletic. Now, look at our pandas, An and Ke. Now, An is very bold. She like lying around and eat her bamboo shoots. She's like a male. And while Ke is very quiet and elegant, like a princess. So like a human being, every panda has their own character. We need to promote the stories and the characters. We need a manager for these panda celebrities. So, Ms. Law, I hope you can treat our pandas like true celebrities. Be their super manager and find opportunities for them, promote them in the mainland and the international community. So besides boosting our economy, our pandas represent a close tie between the country and Hong Kong. So panda is a kind of red tourism resources as well. We need to make use of panda to tell good stories of the country and Hong Kong. Now, while on the topic of Ocean Park, we should also develop the tourism resources in the Southern District. That's why I fully support the motion moved by Mr. Brave Chen. I so submit. Thank you, President. Ms. Lam, so why? Thank you, President. I speak in support of the motion moved by Mr. Brave Chen that is taking forward red tourism and the panda economy in Hong Kong. I also support the amendments. In the past 2 weeks, we discussed how we can make Hong Kong a capital and for mega events. Now, from the administration's response and from members' views, we think we have a consensus of what we should do. Now, over the past 2 weeks, with the events centering on panda, a lot of visitors came. The next step is to translate footfalls into real economic benefits. But there is not much progress made in terms of red tourism. Some even doubt the attractiveness of red tourism. Some think it would be a waste of resources, that it would be superfluous. Now, just look at Jiangjiangshan, the cradle of the revolution in China. A lot of farmers became hostels owner and souvenir shop operators. Now, Jiangjiangshan became the first cities to emerge from poverty in the country. Now, in Changsha, there is a great statue of President Chairman Mao Zedong, and it attracted a lot of visitors. So that's why I think red tourism resources can bring new opportunities to Hong Kong and broaden our patriotic education. Director Xia Baolong said we need to make good use of our 1,800-kilometer long coastline and the 236 outlying islands to develop health tourism and cultural tourism. Sai Kung boasts a beautiful coastline. The 19 Islands war relics are also very educational. During the anti-Japanese aggression war, the Dongjiang Column based their maritime guerrilla operations on the 19 Islands. They gave support to pilots and militants to fled from the Japanese army. Also, there is a great armament storage. We can combine island hopping tourism with the 19 Islands. Now we can embrace low altitude economy and bring visitors on to helicopters so that they can see the war relics from the air while enjoying the nice coastline of Sai Kung. Also, women's role is also important in China's revolutionary path. Now we should showcase the bravery of the female fighters in the Dongjiang Column. They took important roles. They played important roles like communicators and nurses. Some of them even fought hands-on with the Japanese army. Now, the female representation in the CPPCC has been ever rising. There are also more women in the government and the LegCo. It highlights the progress we have made in terms of women's participation in politics. It shows that women can show the half the sky. Women in Hong Kong, especially young women, should understand the history well. Now, I hope the administration can deepen the historical significance of our tourism resources so that the younger generation and visitors can learn about the country's past deeper and enhance the national identity as a Chinese national. It will also bring about economic benefits. It is win-win. On panda economy, now the Tsim Sha Tsui promenade is now exhibiting panda art installations. But to truly bring economic benefits, we need to combine development between cultural and tourism resources. We need to collaborate with the private sector to create thematic catering establishments and souvenirs. There should also be ancillary commercial facilities, for example, souvenir shops selling thematic souvenirs to rake in money. I support the motion and all the amendments. Dr. Tan Yuehan. Thank you, President. I thank Mr. Brave Chan for moving this motion on taking forward red tourism and panda economy in Hong Kong. On red tourism, we have a long history of the revolutionary past of the country. But there are still a lot of red tourism resources waiting to be identified and conserved. Now, the contemporary anti-war history is an important part of Hong Kong's history. Now, with the closer tie we now have with the country, we should give more play to red tourism resources because this kind of tourism facilities is getting more traction in the international community. This can be part of our patriotic educational campaign. It can also be part of our publicity campaign to tell good stories of the country. That's why I support the motion and the amendment. All sectors should work together to develop our red tourism resources and enhance the collaboration between culture and tourism resources. Now, concerning how we can make this happen, I have 3 suggestions. First, more support should be given, and a study should be conducted on how to better utilize the tourism resources. This includes developing tourism resources with local characteristics, which showcase the footprints of the country's national leaders in the past in Hong Kong. Besides broadening the width and depth of the red tourism resources, we need to actively introduce red tourism elements into our heritages. Second, we need to strengthen collaboration and interaction with the red tourism resources in the mainland. More exchanges and roving events should be conducted. We should collaborate with the musical companies and art performing companies in the mainland to perform plays like the Revolutionary Women and plays like that in Hong Kong. Now we need to enhance resources to developing red tourism resources. Now we should make use of the technology. Our galleries focus on static displays and text. Now we should introduce innovative elements and provide an immersive experience to visitors. We need to keep abreast with the time. Now, another point is more collaboration between red tourism and patriotic and national education. Primary and secondary schools should be involved in designing red tourism itineraries. We can also work with mainland cities with a rich revolutionary past and designate them as the destination of study tours in Hong Kong. Now, sometimes these elements may be birthed in other cities, but we can bring these elements to our city and showcase them as part of our red tourism resources. So we need to connect the dots and provide a more intuitive experience in terms of patriotic education. I so submit I support the motion and the amendments.
Mr. Stephen Ho. Thank you, President. I thank Mr. Chan Leung for his motion on red tourism and panda economy. A lot of members talked about what red tourism resources that we have. Ultimately, we want to leverage on red tourism to promote patriotic education. We should not rely on the government to burn money to promote it. We need to care for our economy. I think that red tourism has great potential. However, looking back, I don't think that the government has dedicated a lot of resources into it. This may not be your responsibility because that's under the purview of the HAD. I went to a cenotaph in Lung Ku Tang that was a local tourist attractions. I went to Lung Ku Tang for swimming a lot. At 3 p.m., no stores were opened. Over the right, there were barbecue stands, tea houses, and over my left was a beach. I dedicated some bouquets at the cenotaph, and I saw some information panels next to it. But I noticed that with the sunlight, the glass or panel or the plastics on the panel became very blurry, and I wasn't able to read the words on it. So I think that the government is not attaching enough importance into the maintenance of these monuments. With tourism, we need to develop ancillary facilities. A lot of prevailing legislations and interactions or collaborations with villagers are not sufficient. We use legislation regulating urban areas to monitor or regulate rural areas as well. And the tea houses in the new territories are disappearing because they cannot comply with the food and environmental hygiene regulations. The ones that are still existing are here on a tolerance policy basis. It's not that I didn't want to dine at these tea houses, but there was nothing to see at those places. Just now, some members talked about Wugaotan. They are not accessible by large coaches, so I think that we need a holistic planning. For example, the TATEC Institute is also very remote. We can learn from other countries and places as well. Say, for example, there's a place in Japan called it's a place where it's called Kurihama, and it's where the UK Army landed the port. And they actually organized carnivals and fireworks at this place. We do have tourism resources, and we don't need that many of them as long as we organize regular festive events or activities that we can attract tourists. Say, for example, Shandong, every year they mobilize a team of people to portray as Japanese army and a group of people who portray as anti-Japanese army, and they staged a show showcasing the anti-aggression war. I don't think that we can replicate it, but I think that we need to uphold our right values and mobilize our younger generation. I so speak in support of red tourism and panda economy. If I may remind members that according to the rules of procedure, the motion must end at 11:35 a.m. today. I will allow those who have pressed the button to speak. After that, I will ask Mr. Chan Yong to speak on the amendments. Mr. Yang Wen-kit. Thank you, President. A lot of local travel agencies have rolled out heritage itineraries, including the Cham Chung Wan Sano Path for Mothers in Wukaotang, Landmark Historic Walk, Lucan War Relics Trail, so on and so forth. A lot of people are interested. It means that there is great potential for the development of red tourism. The government must work on commercial facilities and transport arrangements. Take the Lost Oak and the Cenotaph for Mothers in Wukaotan as an example. No coaches are allowed to access the areas, and they have to detour to Taipo in order to access these areas. I think that we should alleviate transport restrictions to enhance accessibility of these areas. On the mainland, they make the relics and monuments as the focus and create and provide transport convenience. They develop research and development industry and create an immersive experience for tourists. People can wear the uniform of the Red Army, and they can use props to take photos. This will enhance their sense of engagement. There's another example in Shandong. that integrate performance, research, development, culture, and tourism all together. Tourists can create cultural products by joining workshops at these monuments and tourist areas, and they can join in performance on stage along with the actors. All these new and creative ideas are what we should learn from. We can create red and green heritage trail to enhance people's understanding of our history. President, let me talk about panda economy. We have 6 giant pandas in Hong Kong. The 2 panda cubs are the most popular. It has sparked a panda craze across the territory. The Ocean Park has rolled out a number of panda-themed IP merchandises. They filmed videos of pandas and they give out red eggs for free. And they call the tourists godmother and godfather to foster a greater bond between the pandas and the people. I think that this is a great start. A lot of tourists are lining up in Ocean Park to appreciate the pandas. And we also have Panda Go. A lot of tourists say that the 2,500 panda art installations were very impressive, and they purchased a lot of merchandises. The Ocean Park also rolled out 1,000 panda sculptures, and all of them were being quote-unquote adopted. All of the proceeds were donated to the conservation of giant panda. And Free Space in Kwun Tong has 80 art installations, and Hello Panda Outdoor Carnival displayed the first art installations of panda on water. As these art installations are so popular, I think that the government should create a regular exhibition or permanent exhibition of panda art installations to create a new tourism spots here. I think that the government should leverage on the community forces. Say, for example, in Kowloon City, we staged a drone shows and we had a panda sports day. I think that we should create more merchandises and paint murals on streets and work with the sector to paint the murals on the buildings on both sides of the Victoria Harbours into pandas. Also speak in support of the motion and all of the amendments. Mr. Yuet-ming. Deputy President, I speak in support of Mr. Chan's motion and the other amendments. The motion talks about the importance of developing red tourism. I talked about developing 5-color tourism after the epidemic. That includes red tourism. I think that red tourism can be a kind of thematic tourism that integrates red elements. That, of course, include the footprint of the Hong Kong Independent Battalion, the old houses of our heroes and martyrs, history of coastal defense. These are attractive to international tourists. We can also allow our younger generation to exchange with their counterparts on the mainland. For us to develop red tourism, we must identify and discover red tourism resources and form heritage trail. Say, for example, we can leverage on Sa Tau Ko, Sai Kung, Yuen Long, Lantau to create a thematic heritage trail for the war of resistance. We can work from Shenzhen and Huizhou to create a cross-boundary thematic tours. For coastal defense monuments, the forts in Tonglong Island, we can integrate complement them with the forts in Huizhou, Nanshan, Guangzhou, and so on. Turning to panda economy, a lot of members talked about Chengdu panda economy, Huahua Fubao. All these are successful examples. I will not repeat them. Panda economy is a way for us to drive, well, pandas are a way for us to drive our economy. The Palace Museum has a great mascot, and there is a Kumamoto mascot in Japan. Huahua generated 1.1 billion yuan of economic contributions, and Kumamoto actually generated 8.7 billion Hong Kong dollars of economic benefits. These mascots are so successful because we're able to draw the attention of the younger generation. An Ke met with the public for the first time on the 8th of December, and that sparked panda craze across the territory. We have Hello Panda, Panda Go, and a series of events. I thank the Chief Executive for visiting Tsim Sha Tsui in person to further promote the panda economy. We must create local panda IP. The Chief Executive's wife actually created 6 panda plates for Ocean Park, and they are themed with the Hong Kong headquarters, the electrical complex, the clock tower, and the peak. I hope that the Chief Executive's wife can paint a few more paintings on the Geo Park, Shuttlecock, Ocean Park, the Manla House Trail. We should create stories of panda and to promote them in a targeted manner and to scale the panda economy. Apart from pandas, we also have other kinds of IP, say Mak Moto, Chocolate Rain, Ding Dong. Cute economy cannot happen overnight. It takes time for us to develop it. We need more creative energy to promote panda economy and cute economy. I so submit.
Mr. Vincent Chang. Thank you, Deputy President. I speak in support of the motion moved by Mr. Brave Chan and other amendments. We need to develop a heritage trail for the war of resistance involving the Dongjiang Column to commemorate the Victory Day of Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression. I'm all for this. I'd like to talk about developing panda economy. It drives not only tourism development, it is also all about the passing on of fine traditional Chinese culture. So we need to ride on the panda craze and maximize the economic benefits. Since July, the Central People's Government announced that they would give 2 more pandas to Hong Kong. It sparked a panda craze in Hong Kong. I watched the live broadcast of An and Ke. The 2 giant pandas started to crawl. 20,000 to 30,000 people watched this very significant moment. It speaks volumes about the panda craze in Hong Kong. We all want to witness the growth of the 2 giant pandas, but we cannot solely rely on the Central People's Government or Ocean Park. Market forces are very important. I'm glad to see different quarters of society riding on the panda craze. With the birth of the twin panda cubs, many shopping centers and restaurants prepare or market panda products, say installations in shopping centers. There are also community groups combining pandas and intangible cultural heritage, ICH. The aim is to give the public a better understanding of the ICH. Mrs. Regina and Mr. Brave Chen work with the China Tourist Services, and the Panda Carnival was very successful. There were a lot of bazaars, talks, and so on in relation to pandas. All these are about the popular science resources in Hong Kong. I need to thank the Tourism Commission in particular for their assistance in the preparation of these events. We have held a very successful carnival. Panda-related activities are very popular among the public. The panda craze for the past 6 months has been intensifying. When I took part in the Panda Carnival events, I met with a lot of challenges as well. Earlier on in my oral question, I asked the administration whether they will streamline the procedures in relation to harborfront. There was a positive response. The flexibility would be enhanced in relation to the space that can be used by the public. I look forward to more measures to be adopted by the administration. With different departmental collaboration and the application for entertainment licenses, I look forward to streamlined procedures. So apart from giant pandas, we will see more space for passionate individuals in society to organize these events and activities. Deputy President, in order to enhance patriotic education and develop tourism, alongside enhancing public understanding of the fine traditional Chinese culture, I agreed to revitalize Block 58 of the former Whitfield Barracks in Kowloon Park to build Chinese Culture Experience Center. We need to make good use of the Kowloon Park. The Information Center isn't quite in line with the overall direction of Kowloon Park. I suggest that the administration can make better use of Kowloon Park to better promote Chinese culture. In the long run, the Yuet-ming district has a rich museum cluster. I look forward to more collaboration among museums, and the administration can also promote this mature museum cluster. We can develop in-depth itineraries for the public to have a better understanding of the fine traditional Chinese culture. We need to develop diversified tourism strategies in Hong Kong. We need to streamline administrative application procedures. We also need to be active in promoting panda economy. We need to encourage the tourism industry to work together so that we can develop the tourism industry in a better manner. Thank you. Mr. Michael Lok. Thank you, Deputy President. I speak in support of Mr. Brave Chan's motion on taking forward red tourism and the panda economy in Hong Kong. In the interest of time, I will focus on red tourism. Red tourism needs to be backed by historical facts in relation to figures as well as the historical background of events. We cannot make this happen overnight. We need to work on conservation, revitalization, as well as restoration. That's exactly how we can boost tourism in Hong Kong. This will also bring a lot of intangible economic benefits. We can therefore enhance our national identity and patriotic spirit. A red tourism close to my heart is in my secondary school, alma mater. Is in Tuen Mun. That is the Tate Institute. Its historical value is unique. It all started in 1936. In the War of Resistance against the Japanese aggression, the 8th Wood Army owned this mansion. From 1946 to 1949, Tate Institute was rented as the campus. It was the first private institute founded by Premier Zhou Enlai. Many figures went to this institute for lectures. It has groomed over 1,000 intellectuals. They have become very important figures down in history. In contemporary Chinese history, they played unique roles. They are important witnesses to the history of our war of resistance. The school philosophy is also an important treasure. The alumni of Tate Institute still treasure this a lot. In 1949, in February, out of political reasons, Tate Institute was taken over, and it was converted into a dormitory for students and teachers. Tate Institute was renamed as a venue for religious purposes. Its architectural style is impressive. The trees show the indomitable spirit of our compatriots. Tate Institute wasn't given enough importance in the past. Owing to a lack of conservation awareness, it was demolished and rebuilt. It wasn't until 2004 that it was rebuilt. Many buildings nearby are defined as historic buildings. It is not made public. This is regrettable. The fund provided by the Development Bureau can only support basic restoration. We need to restore artifacts, and with a cap of 6 million building restoration scheme, it is not applicable to all buildings or scenarios. Owners are worried that owing to a lack of fund, the projects could not be finished in time. Your time is up. Please stop. Thank you. Mr. Scott Leung. Thank you, Deputy President. We need to develop tourism is everywhere in Hong Kong. We need to develop different tourism products so that visitors will have unique travel experience in Hong Kong. Next year marks the 80th Victory Day of the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression. Last year, we received a total of 2 billion visitors, with 1 trillion of renminbi market capital. Red tourism we need to mention the Hong Kong Independent Battalion of the Dongjiang Column when it comes to red tourism. We need to enhance the national identity of Hong Kong people. There are cenotaphs in Wukaotang, but if we want to develop red tourism, it's more than building a cenotaph. We can select a few historical stories to inject new impetus. During the Japanese occupation, the eastern route went past Sai-Kung. It is popular among tourists. For Tam Chok Wan Cenotaph, Wong Mo Ying Village, we can set up explanatory signs in country parks to tell the historical stories to visitors. Then visitors will know what happened in the past. immersive experience is all the rage in mainland China. Many people want to experience history by putting up customs. In Guizhou, many visitors took money out of their own pocket to get a taste of the battlefield in the past. So if we can launch immersive travel experience tours to allow members of the public or visitors to get a taste of the battlefield, this will make our attractions even more attractive. The motion is also about developing the panda economy. There are 6 pandas, and we have a pair of twin panda cubs in Hong Kong. The giant panda twin cubs 100-day celebration saw many attendances. It shows how popular these twin panda cubs are. I am also a fan of these pandas on Xiaohongshu. To extend the panda craze, not just Ocean Park, but different quarters of the community need to work on developing panda IP. We have quite a lot of experience of developing cultural and creative products, say Master Q, La Bubu, and so on. All these have sparked a craze all over the world. We can work with local artists to launch panda products. We also need to take the lead in encouraging the production of panda products. I'm holding a panda product right now. They have combined the merchandise with pandas. Before the end of the fair, they have already seen an increase in the revenue. That is by 25%. It's the Hong Kong Brands and Products Expo. Red tourism and panda economy are only 2 examples that are worth mentioning. In the long run, Hong Kong needs to develop its wealth of tourism resources to produce more tourism resources. Say, recently we discovered dinosaur fossils. For fruit market in Yau Ma Tei, we need to develop these attractions into attractions with nostalgic features in Hong Kong. Then we can drive tourism development and attract more visitors to Hong Kong. I support Mr. Chan's motion and amendments. Thank you.
Mr. Yim Kong. Thank you, Deputy President. Giant pandas are well loved by the world. They are the national treasure. Now, since the return of Hong Kong to the motherland, the central government has gifted 6 pandas to Hong Kong. We have received the most pandas from the country. It really makes us feel the love and support given by the central government. An and Keke have driven a wave of panda craze in the city. Now we can ride on this trace to develop panda economy. However, without any practical policy support and a clear roadmap, it is really difficult to turn panda into a growth engine. That's why I thank Mr. Brave Chan for moving today's motion, so that during this craze for pandas, we can have a cool-headed discussion on how we can ensure that policy supports are given to achieve the objective. Now, panda economy is just the coinage of a term. It covers all the economic activities arising from panda. So for example, there can be synergy between anime, fashion design, toys, and other high value-added industries. The government should make reference to this model. An increase in sales of tickets for Ocean Park is negligible for the bigger picture. Now, so pandas can be a favorable factor to drive our tourism's industry. Now, the sector and also the government have invested a huge sum of money into the publicity campaign of Anand and Keke. For example, the Hong Kong Jockey Club has invested some $210 million in building a new habitat for the pandas. However, after spending $700,000 on the naming competition for panda, the pandas still adopt the old names. So the government should be more prudent in its expenditure. On the other hand, I support developing red tourism resources. Now, we should enhance tourism resources on the theme of Canton-Hong Kong strike, a seaman strike, uprising of the two airlines, and our anti-Japanese aggression efforts to develop a red tourism economy with Hong Kong characteristics and showcase patriotism of Hong Kong people. I also submit a support of the motion and the amendments. Mr. Ring Kong, Deputy President, I speak in support of the motion moved by Mr. Brave Chan. I also thank the other members for their amendments. To Hong Kong, panda is an intellectual property. Now, by using panda, we can drive the development of ecological tourism resources. Now, making reference to other places, when Fu Bao returned to China from Korea, the Korean public miss Fu Bao a lot. Now, prior to his return to the country, souvenirs sold recorded at 27 million pieces, recording an increase of 40%. Now, in the Ueno Zoo in Japan, during the 6-year stay in the zoo, pandas created some $433 million in contribution. Now, many members have spoken on their thoughts, but I focus on the word development and expansion. It's not just about quantity. We need to focus on quality as well. And also, we have to promote the idea outside Hong Kong in terms of red tourism. The idea of red tourism is rather foreign to overseas visitors, and pandas seem to be everywhere. So we need to be focused on our publicity campaign. We can make reference to the Made in Singapore publicity campaign adopted by the Singaporean government this year. They use a three-dimensional video technology to make the image pop. It doesn't mean that we will automatically have a panda economy with the coming of pandas. We need to develop an industry with noise and with clots. Check-in can be beneficial in the short run, but not in the long run. Now, we have created a trend, but from trend to money, there is still a long way to go. Now, we can make reference to the Hong Kong Disneyland Resorts products development strategy in recent years. They have a wide range of products. There are many lines with collaboration with fashion designers. Now, I visited the Disneyland Resort when it was opened in the morning. Most of the visitors would rush to buy souvenirs the first thing they enter the Disneyland Resort. Now, I went to a panda souvenir shop in Tsim Sha Tsui, trying to buy a piece of panda-themed souvenir to support the bid. Actually, I'm a big shopper, but I couldn't buy anything because the products were simply unattractive. To turn pandas into an economy, we need to promote products with elegance and with a good design, and they must have warmth. Now, like Professor William Wong said, we need to boil up the panda craze. However, we need to keep the heat. Otherwise, it will cool down. Now, there are many characters with longevity. For example, Snoopy and Doraemon. Now, Doraemon has taken roots in the mind of people. Now, I have faith in the Hong Kong SAR. Japan has Doraemon. Hong Kong has Panda. Now, whether it is red tourism or panda economy, the government should take a macro perspective in formulating a long-term development strategy and make reference to the successful experience of our neighbors and tailor-make a strategy for Hong Kong. Also, we should cast our eyes further than just the city. We need to cast our eyes on the world and develop our unique brand. Thank you.
議員。
Reverend Peter Kun, President, last year policy address, it is said that $20,000 of baby bonus will be given to new parents to encourage childbirth. Although the policy does not benefit the parents of these pair of panda cubs that we have, this is still a piece of great news for us. And it was a rare case of having a senior pandas give birth to a pair of fraternal twins. Now, the country has given us 2 pandas. Now we altogether have 6 pandas. A lot of different countries spent a lot of efforts and thoughts into developing panda economy. Take Kumamoto of Japan and Oak Bear of Taiwan as examples. Their success hinges on the background story of these characters, and they are popular among young people. In turn, this has created economic benefits for the local community. For us to develop panda economy, we must discover new trends and create brands upon them. Deputy President, Disney is a great example of this. Over the years, the popularity of Disney has been very impressive. Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse accompanied us as we grew up, and they have been here for almost a century. The designer of Mickey Mouse brought people back to their childhood. In order to keep up with the times, these characters continue to grow and bring about different new meanings to fans of different generations. Disneyland expanded their network to TV, theme park, collectibles, digital media, retail, and even education. They expand their coverage to international entertainment industry while keeping their core values. We should learn from their successful examples. Deputy President, if we want to turn panda into a brand, we must cartoonize our pandas. We must have an iconic panda. The Ocean Park rolled out a new IP image. They have designed different images for the 6 pandas. I think that we should work with our local cultural and creative industries so that we can incorporate local elements into these images and create background stories for these pandas. We should also roll out thematic and time-limited images for our pandas in order for us to turn panda craze into a long-term benefits, well, we need support of the cultural and creative industries. If we find the right direction, then we'll be able to drive our economy. I also speak in support of the original motion and the amendments. Mr. Chan Yong, you may now speak on the amendments. Thank you, Deputy President. I thank Mr. Kenneth Leung, Mr. Stanley, and Ms. Chen Yuet-ming for the amendments, along with other suggestions by other members. Everyone is now trying to work on an economy. Mr. Kenneth Leung and Ms. Chen Yuet-ming talked about enhancing ancillary tourist facilities for red tourism and enhanced cooperation with the mainland. These are great suggestions. I agree with them. We know that we have Wu Kautan and Tam Chuk Wan, Sano Taf. They have been given national status. I think that the Secretary and the CSTB, as well as the relevant departments, turn these monuments into ones that are operated by the government, so that we can enhance their capacity. Red museums, we can build one of it, and we can, for example, learn from the mainland. Red tourism generates hundreds of millions of visitor times to their attractions. A lot of members and, well, the Secretary as well, are wearing red. Dr. Stanley talked about how we should inherit and promote the spirit of patriotism and strengthen patriotic education in the new era. This is in line with what President Xi Jinping said. We must cultivate a sense of confidence in our culture, and this is beneficial in driving our economy. Mr. Stanley in his amendment, also talked about the commemorative figures for a lot of movements, such as the uprising of the two airlines. These are red genes and red history that safeguarded us. The Liberation Army came on the 1st of July, 1997. However, before that, the Hong Kong and Kowloon Independent Brigade of the Dongjiang Column was already here to defend us. I think that while we promote such a history, we can learn from what Zhuhai is doing. The Liaoning warship visited Hong Kong. I think that by having this warship came to Hong Kong, this can enhance red tourism and promote defense economy and defense education. Mr. Zhang Li, principal officials, the secretary here, the tourism commissioner, work very hard on promoting red tourism and panda economy. Yesterday, the chief executive went to Tsim Sha Tsui to promote our pandas. It shows that we are united. We want to leverage on panda IPs and red tourism to drive our economy and tourism. We want to promote it to the international audience so that we can enhance capital inflow and people flow to Hong Kong. By this, we can drive our economy. I agree with your analysis. Same goes for finance. We can have panda tokens, panda funds, so that we can upgrade and create capacity. Here, I thank the members who moved the amendments, and I hope that members will support my original motion and all of the amendments.
體育及旅遊局
Secretary for Culture, Sports and Tourism. Deputy President, once again, I thank Mr. Brave Chan for his motion and 3 members for their amendments. That is Mr. Kenneth LEUNG, Mr. Stanley and Ms. Chen Yuet-ming. 36 members have expressed their valuable views and suggestions. I'd like to give an overall response. In the 2023 policy address, the government proposed to set up museums to introduce the development and achievements of the country. Dedicated museum covering areas such as national history, politics, economic development, and culture. The Museum on the History and Achievements of the CPC will be one of the exhibitions. We have earlier liaised with the relevant museum, and it has agreed to offer assistance to museums in organizing an exhibition on the history of the CPC. We have decided to have the museum set up in Kutong in Northern Metropolis. I will monitor curation and the development of the museum. In addition, we will also maintain liaison with the relevant counterparts in mainland China. The Hong Kong Museum of the War of Resistance and Coastal Defense will also explore the feasibility of co-organizing exhibitions on models of national military equipment with mainland cultural and museum organizations in order to enable Hong Kong people to have a better understanding of the evolution and development of national military equipment. We'll actively showcase national achievements by way of thematic exhibitions. Members have also put forward suggestions in relation to developing red tourism tours and having a museum roadmap. Indeed, we have a wide range of contents in different museums. We will also update the exhibits on a regular basis. Through continuous promotion, we will give visitors a better understanding of the contents and exhibits of museums. Regarding the continuous enhancement of historical and heritage trails, the Tourism Commission will work with the AFD to implement the Hiking Trail Phase 2 enhancement, including Shing Mun Battlefield Trail and the one in Lok Kang. We will improve the coverage of the trail network, add more spots, and improve information for tourism. The improvement works are expected to be completed by 2026. Some members mentioned anti-war sites in the Northern Metropolis, and we will further consider these suggestions. The Northern District is home to a number of landmarks and relics in relation to anti-Japanese war history, including the Laws House for the Hong Kong Independent Battalion of the Dongjiang Column, that is the museum in Sha Tao Kong at present, as well as the cenotaph in Wu Kao Tang. In 2023 to 24, the LCSC organized a series of activities entitled the Anti-Japanese Aggression. In November, the LCSD organized a guided tour. Experts and scholars led the public to visit the Sha Tao Kok Memorial Hall in Hong Kong in order to present the heroic contributions and patriotic sentiments of the anti-Japanese martyrs. The district office in the locality completed the renovation of the facilities in the Wu Kao Tang Memorial Hall. As I mentioned in opening remarks, we'll continue to promote smart tourism in different attractions. Regarding museums, the new permanent exhibition and thematic exhibitions of the Hong Kong Museum of History will use videos and pictures to introduce to the public the history between Hong Kong and our motherland. Where resources are available, we will also leverage on technology to enrich and improve the travel experience of visitors. Regarding the dedicated museum, we'll make good use of vivid technologies to showcase the exhibits, making better use of AR to give visitors a better experience. Last year, I visited Beijing and I had deep feelings about the history of China when different technologies were used to good effect. Members mentioned improving patriotic education. The LCSD has been making good use of museum resources in order to enhance patriotic education. The LCSD will continue to make good use of different museum resources to organize a wide array of exhibitions. From the perspective of history and science, we'll curate exhibitions in relation to Chinese history so that members of the public will learn more about the fine and profound Chinese culture in a diversified manner. There are also study tours for local primary and secondary schools to enhance their national identity. Places include Cenotaph in Wukaotang, Laws House, Shuttlecock Memorial Hall, Sai Kung Chamchok Wan, Cenotaph. All these help students and teachers to have a correct understanding of the historical facts in Hong Kong, not least the Hong Kong Independent Battalion of the Dongjiang Column. There are also other museums, such as the Hong Kong Museum of the War of Resistance and Coastal Defense. Through these museums, we enhance the patriotic spirit. The response has been enthusiastic and positive. All these are witnesses to the history of Hong Kong. They are impressive patriotic resources, and they are also good attractions of tourism. We need to make use of these tourism resources with different sectors of the community. We need to allow members of the public to have a better understanding of our nation's history through these resources. 2025 marks the 80th Victory Day of Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression. We'll launch a series of patriotic education activities to commemorate this important year. First of all, the Hong Kong Museum of the War of Resistance and Coastal Defense will hold thematic exhibitions in 2025 outlining the role of Hong Kong in our war of resistance against Japanese aggression. The public will then have a better and accurate understanding of our history against Japanese aggression. The museum will also continue to ramp up publicity efforts and organize different activities to introduce the war of resistance. This will spike the public's interest in the history in this period. We will also hold different commemorative activities in the Hong Kong Museum of the War of Resistance and Coastal Defense to enhance the patriotic spirit. Mr. Stanley and another member also mentioned some very useful suggestions. I will take on board these views, learn more about the historical facts in this area, and will also lead my team to follow up on their suggestions. The Hong Kong Museum of History will also organize large-scale artifact exhibitions between September and December next year, covering history between the 1931 and 1945, where Hong Kong suffered great turmoil. It will also showcase our history against Japanese aggression and their indomitable spirit in this period. Exhibitions will introduce the Dongjiang Column and its contributions. The Dongjiang Column helped with the Air Force to guard against our enemy. It commemorates the great contributions of Hong Kong against the Japanese aggression. Many members said that we need to ride on the business opportunities brought about by the panda craze in Hong Kong. Ocean Park is the place having the most pandas apart from China. Ocean Park is active in seizing upon the opportunities brought by the panda craze in Hong Kong. Based on the physique and characteristics of the 6 pandas we have, products have been created. A series of new panda products have been marketed. There will also be activities provided to annual pass holders. We encourage the public to visit Ocean Park a few times within a year. Ocean Park also creates cards to record the growth history of the pandas. Members made good suggestions, say honorary panda administrators, and introduce different schemes to cover the stories of the panda family to be built into panda IP. All these are conducive to boosting local economic development. We will lead Ocean Park, and we will also learn from overseas places to make breakthroughs. This year, in mid-August, Ocean Park launched a public account on pandas, sharing with the public the growth of pandas. The Instagram account has 100,000 fans. The Douyin account has also become one of the top 100 content creators online. The Central People's Government gifted Hong Kong another pair of pandas. There are over 3,000 articles about panda, reaching a total of 120 million audience. There is also a giant panda twin cubs 100-day birthday bash for the twin panda cubs in Ocean Park. Visitors can see how adorable the pandas are. 37,000 visitors were attracted to Ocean Park. There's a winter festival where the inflatable panda figures were displayed in Ocean Park to give visitors immersive travel experience. The CSTB worked with the Tourism Board and Ocean Park to organize a wide array of publicity activities, including China Travel Services, DAB, and a few organizations to organize Hello Panda. This activity started on the 11th of December in Hong Kong Cultural Center. It will run until the 21st of December. The carnival is rich in contents and is widely popular among the public. The CSTB and the Tourism Commission fully supports all right reserve Panda Go. On the 2nd of December, on the apron of the Hong Kong International Airport, the activity started on the Avenue of Stars and Ngong Ping Market. Panda Sculpture Bazaar is widely popular among the public in Hong Kong. A lot of visitors stopped and checked in at these spots. The adoption activities also completed with resounding success. And this weekend and over Christmas, these activities will be moved to Ocean Park and another park. On the evening of the 28th of December, Panago fireworks drone shows will be conducted in Hong Kong. The Tourism Board also fully supported and will render support. We hope to give a better experience for visitors as well as locals in Hong Kong. On a different note, on Discover Hong Kong Tourism Portal, there is a dedicated website to pandas. We'll add panda information in faces and promote different tourism routes. Panda families and pandas' friends will be featured in the latest clips, such as exploring nature in Hong Kong, trying gourmet items in Hong Kong to Michelin restaurants, as well as Kai Tak Sports Park to feel the vibes of mega events. The CSTB will also work with the Tourism Board, Ocean Park, and other companies to promote another activity. Panda ambassadors will promote the concept of tourism is everywhere in Hong Kong and draw tourists from all over the world to Hong Kong. In Admiralty Station, Hong Kong Station, Ocean Park Station, we can see the 6 pandas. In order to ramp up publicity efforts, the Airport Express line and the South Island line will also be turned into panda trains for visitors and passengers to check in. From Central Pier to mid-level escalators to large-scale advertisement boards, members of the public will see pandas. In relation to society in general, we need to make pandas an industry in order to reap economic value and benefits. This is equally important. I'm glad to see many organizations and shops organizing a wide variety of panda publicity events. Say in large shopping centers, panda decorations and installations are displayed, and there are also different panda products and desserts, Western wines, and so on. The retail sector has also started to market panda crossover products. MTLCL will also work with Ocean Park to market tourism packages comprising high-speed rail tickets and Ocean Park entrance tickets. Different quarters of the community will leverage on the panda craze in order to boost tourism development. There will also be anime products, cultural and creative products in order to bring about business opportunities. President, I believe the panda craze is indeed an opportunity for Ocean Park to have a more influential impact. We will also explore business opportunities in relation to study tours. Ocean Park has expanded its services to the mainland China. It's become another Guangdong study tour base. This further cements Ocean Park's status in relation to conservation. Hong Kong is rich in red tourism resources and panda resources. We will work harder to take forward panda economy and red tourism in order to attract more visitors from all over the world. I encourage and invite different trades in Hong Kong as well as the public to work together to build red tourism hotspots and take forward panda economy. We need to be innovative, think out of the box to create more panda products. We also need to create actual economic benefits to tell the good stories of Hong Kong and those of China. Presidents, I so submit.
I now call upon Mr. Kenneth Leung to move an amendment. President, I move my amendment. I propose the question to you that Mr. Kenneth Leung's amendment be passed. Will those in favor please raise their hands? Those against, please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by a majority of each of the 2 groups of members present. I declare the amendment passed. Mr. Stanley Ng, as the preceding amendment has been passed, you may now move your further amendment. President, I move my further amendment. I propose the question to you that Mr. Stanley Ng's further amendment be passed. Will those in favor please raise their hands? Those against, please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by a majority of each of the 2 groups of members present. I declare the amendment passed. Ms. Yuet-ming, as the preceding amendments have been passed, you may now move your further amendment. President, I move my further amendment. I propose the question to you that Ms. Yuet-ming's further amendment be passed. Will those in favor please raise their hands? Those against, please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by a majority of each of the 2 groups of members present. I declare the amendment passed. Mr. Chan Yong, you still have 46 seconds to reply, then the debate will come to a close. Mr. Chan Yong. Thank you, President. Thank you, Secretary. We must organize red tourism and panda economy well to give hope to our nation. I hope that there will be tourism everywhere in Hong Kong, panda everywhere in Hong Kong, and everyone will work hard on economy. I thank the commissioners, the chief executive, and the secretary for working hard on promoting red tourism and panda economy. Let's work hard together, and I urge members to support my original motion and all of the amendments. Thank you, President. And I'll put the question to you that Mr. Chan Yong's motion, as amended by Mr. Kenneth Leung, Mr. Stanley Ng, and Ms. Yuet-ming, be passed. Will those in favor please raise their hands? Those against, please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by a majority of each of the 2 groups of members present. I declare the motion as amended passed.
Members' motion with no legislative effects. Motion debate on actively responding to economic transformation and maintain